Hi everyone! As I'm currently in the process of drawing for one of Kira's new songs, I thought this would be a good time to sort of give you a behind-the-scenes look on how I do my part, and then finish up with a bit of design philosophy and how I tackle illustrating for Vocaloid songs in general. I don't know if I'm the best person to make this, but it's the sort of thing that I would have liked to have seen from Vocaloid illustrators when I was first getting into the Vocaloid fandom. By the time of posting this video, the song should be out, and this will sort of go alongside that upload, so hopefully it'll be a nice sort of bonus content. I think my process at this point is pretty solid, but if there's any changes in the future, maybe I'll make an update video or something like that. So, to start off, Kira sends me his song, and I get to work drawing. This has been my experience with pretty much all other producers too. I get a near complete or a complete song and a loose idea to work with, sometimes the lyrics too if it's not an English song, and then maybe a brief description of the song's meaning if it's not super apparent from the first listen. I'll then draw what I see in my head. Sometimes it comes really easily, and other times it takes a bit more conscious thinking to get something I'm happy with. This time around we've got a painterly gumi, and this is the design that I came up with. Pretty much first try, there was a few sketches underneath this, but this is what I've settled on. Wanted something quite colourful. And then I've also sketched out several ideas that I've since pitched to Kira, and he quite likes the first two, and I am in the process of drawing out the top left one. And this is what it looks like currently, and you guys will have seen the finished version. I don't know what the finished version looks like yet. Hopefully it looks nice. With Kira specifically, since how we're so close, I normally hear a lot of works in progresses, and sometimes I get a bit ahead of myself and end up doing all of the art really, really early on, and then sitting on it until the song's of course finished, and then wanting to redo it all. And normally, thankfully, I have the time to get away with doing this, and it's all fine. But that's a bad habit, and I don't really recommend any other illustrators out there doing that. I keep in mind a few different things. First is of course the song's mood, and I want my art to match that. Second is the producer's normal video style, so I know where the bar is and sort of what's expected of me, because I want to, at bare minimum, match what is already out on that person's channel. Some producers like to just have a still image with lyrics, which requires a bit more of a detailed illustration, while some like really extravagant PVs, which take a bit more work and require a slightly different group of illustrations for that. I also like to keep in mind who's making the video if I know that ahead of time. Sometimes I don't, because this one's kind of a community-specific thing, but I've noticed some PV makers that in the community work a lot with utaites specifically, tend to work with individual asset art and then composite the background in After Effects, but other times the video is more simple and the art used has backgrounds and it's more of a layered image kind of thing. For this image in particular, the front canvases I want as separate images so they can be toggled on and off in the video, so there's a bit more room for the detail in the background. And I'm not sure on this yet. I think I might just stick with the one gumi, but she is on her own layer, so she can be her own asset. But also, if I feel like making variations on that, I can also get away with that as well. And then on the rare occasion that I'm the one making the video, I just kind of do what I feel like and plan the PV mentally as I draw and just kind of match up the things and then work on the video a bit. Maybe notice that I'm missing a few things and go back to drawing, and that's a very back and forth process just because I can get away with that. Once all the artwork is done, I send that over to the producer and maybe the PV maker as well. Sometimes the producer just sends it to the PV artist if I don't know for sure who it is. It gets one final approval, and then I wait until the video's done. Or not. Sometimes I haven't quite drawn enough assets for the video to be made, and I need to make a couple more, but usually the person who's making the video will let me know. And then occasionally I get shown works in progresses of the video being made. Other times I see the video alongside at the same time with the public. It just kind of depends on how fast the video gets made. And that's pretty much it. It's not a super complicated process. I try and treat it like a collaboration, but the producer is ultimately in charge and I'm aiding their creation. So one last thing is my design philosophy. Vocaloid involves you drawing, well, Vocaloids, and of course, oftentimes it's the same Vocaloid over and over again. I think it's really important to try and differentiate each Vocaloid per song, kind of like modules. The really popular Vocaloids all tend to have really distinct hairstyles and colours associated with them, so it's safe to play around with them without losing the original character underneath that. It goes back to this idea in art about shape language. Circles Gumi has very round hair shapes and quite round eyes and features. Burn Me Down Gumi has quite pointy, wilder hair, and Monsters Gumi is supposed to look soft, but still have a bit of that dangerous pointiness to her hair, and the bow is to make her look a bit cuter and less dangerous than she actually is. The new song's Vocaloid, as it is a song sort of based around painting, the tips of her hair are going to be covered in paint, and of course she's got the painter's beret, is that how you say it? Same with the other Vocaloids I've drawn. My goal is for you to be able to tell which song the Vocaloid came from in a lineup, if it was a lineup of like the same Vocaloid over and over again. Like Unbreakable is supposed to look more mature, whereas Day I Die Ruby is supposed to be more childish. And then Miku's really fun because her hair, you can just do so much with it. So we've got quite round shapes for Magical Night. It's supposed to be quite friendly, and then BBF is supposed to be a bit more on the wilder, dangerous side, so you got those points in again, and then sort of a messy hair look. So yeah, that's pretty much everything. My process and a little bit of my thinking too when it comes to working as an illustrator for Vocaloid music. Thank you for watching. I hope this was interesting, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments.